82 instant.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit relieffactor.com today.
Thought-provoking and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, kids, it's already Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to make a show that's even better than tacos. I know it's hard to believe. A lot of things to get you on the show. The Democrat Party is cleaving in half. The Democrat Party, I never would have expected this. I knew that the Democrat Party was doing a death spiral into hell. But, wow, the creativity and imagination involved in this destruction of the Democrat Party is absolutely something I never would have expected to have the Democratic Socialists of America, who are a bunch of spoiled, entitled children who have no jobs, who are overeducated, have degrees that are worthless, have no life experience whatsoever, and they're going to take over all the industry. And they're gonna run everything. It's like take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese and let the kids just take over the place, run the place, go into the kitchen, make your own pizza, pay the bills, pay the light bill, all that. Let the kids have it, sure, okay. Let the first graders drive the bus. That's what the Democrat Party is all about, and it's going to fail. All right, it's going to fail. You know why? Because there are enough adults in the room and in the country who aren't going to let these petulant little ignoramuses run the country and ruin the country just because they're ignorant of history and have never done anything in their freaking lives. This includes Zohran Mandami, a spoiled, entitled brat from Uganda. Uganda, the armpit of the earth. And, of course, Francesca Hong, whose parents came here from Korea. Not sure which Korea, but, she really struggled. Her mom and dad, lived the American dream, and she, was depressed, I guess, about being Korean or something, and is mentally ill. She did cutting. She cut herself, and then she was institutionalized, and she's bipolar. And she's 37 years old now. She ran a restaurant into the ground, and she suddenly thinks that the American system of governance is completely upside down. We need to get rid of the police. All of these are spoiled, entitled children who have no life experience, no knowledge of anything, and I would just love Francesca Hong to invite a convicted rapist, let him out of prison, and come in and share the apartment with her and split the utilities and the whole deal. Let's see how well that works. Let's just see how well that works. Francesca Hong, the woman who says that they should have gotten rid of Thanksgiving in 1621, the woman who hates Christmas, the woman who hates white people. She was married to a white guy, had an Asian kid, and says that her kid, now this listen, says that she has a white proximity. Her son has white proximity. I hate to tell you, this doesn't get more proximate than having half of your DNA be or whatever makeup being white and then half Korean. Honestly, the woman is bat crap crazy, and she's going to get destroyed in the state of Wisconsin. We're going to get to all of this stuff as the show progresses, but it is delicious to watch the Democrat Party. They're just nuts. They're just nuts. I said the 2024 race was about returning from nonsense to common sense. This race really is about choosing sane versus choosing crazy. And there aren't enough crazy people to elect these nutbags like Francesca Hong in the state of Wisconsin. My God. Oh, here, this is kind of interesting. Man in custody for allegedly starting the Old Trails fire. I don't know if you know this big old fire up there near Spokane, Washington. Don't call it Spokane. They get really mad in Spokane if you call it Spokane. They do not like it when you do that. They've arrested 37-year-old Aaron Farinacci in connection with starting the Old Trails fire. During a press conference, a judge signed the warrant for Farinacci's arrest for first-degree arson at around 3 o'clock on Monday. He was taken into custody with no incident, a $1 million bond. Concerned citizens noticed warned authorities they saw a man bending down in the grass in the area at around 12 o'clock. Wednesday, witnesses, told officials Farinacci She looked nervous and later saw smoke coming from the area where we were standing. Officials say the witness gave Airway Heights police a description of what he looked like, and he was taken into custody. And, of course, this is another big fire that was started by an arsonist, the one in California that burned the 10,000 homes and only like 3 of them have been rebuilt. All that, the Palisades fire, that was also caused by arson. And I think we can draw one conclusion, and one conclusion only from this, that global warming, climate change, causes people to commit arson. That's what we got to do. We just got to say that global warming, climate change, ozone holes, acid rain, murder hornets, it causes people to commit arson. So we've got to do something about global warming, climate change, ozone hole, acid rain, murder hornets. We They really had some idiots in Washington State say, oh, yeah, the fire was caused by climate change. You idiot. If the fire was caused by climate change, why aren't there wildfires all over the damn country? No, just this little pinprick on the face of the globe. That's what's causing the global warming, climate change, murder hornets, ozone hole, acid rain. Right there, that little spot right there is that's God just pointing there that finger and just saying, aha. You drove an SUV, so I'm going to set this little spot here on fire. My God, you people are stupid. Just stupid. Democrat Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed spent the final hours of his campaign Monday at a content creators pool party where left-wing streamer Hassan Piker was among the guests. Now, Hassan Piker has praised Chairman Mao, who killed 70 million people, has said that we deserved 9/11 of other things. I'm glad they're unmasking their true allegiances. Also there, I think was Ilhan Omar was at the what's her name, Francesca Hong's big old celebration. But the Twitch streamer who holds millions of followers, made up largely of men under 30, rallied with El-Sayed on Michigan college campuses this spring in appearances that drew condemnation from the candidates' primary rivals. Anyway, so El-Sayed has a 15-point lead over Representative Haley Stevens, don't you know? She's, darn tootin', she's a candidate there, and she donned an authentic Michigan accent all of a sudden to try to show that she was a populist up there in Michigan, and apparently nobody is buying it. Anyway, he's pulled to a 54-39% lead there. And he is a Democrat socialist. He is for getting rid of the Senate. He is for Medicaid for all. They've gone full in on the absolute socialization of medicine, which we have been rejecting since Hillary Clinton tried it when Bill Clinton was the president and lost both houses of Congress for the first time in 40 years in the middle of his first term. I remember this because I was writing for a guy named Rush Limbaugh. I was in my 20s and I was paying attention and everything. And Hillary Clinton, she thought she could be like the prezi on the side. And she came up with these little cards that, give you a little card that showed your Medicaid card. You can go in and get your health care. And America said, bleep you, lady. We want nothing to do with it, and Bill Clinton lost both houses of Congress and then had to come to the center. And they've been pushing this crap on us ever since, most recently with Obamacare, which is a complete and utter scam. Trillions of dollars that has enriched the insurance agencies, Big Pharma among others, and of course they have slavishly donated money to Democrats. And now we've still, literally 16 years later, I guess when you're Francesca Hong's age, you don't remember things that happened 16 years ago because you were in an insane asylum. But the rest of us know that we didn't want it. They rammed it through, and then of course the Supreme Court upheld it thanks to a judge named Roberts. And what happened ever since? Now we're in the same spot apparently now, and the only thing the Democrats can do to fix the broken attempt at socialized medicine is to make it even more socialized. And I think America is going to reject it wholeheartedly. I really, really do. There's a big division in the Democrat Party, and they are doing what I call a death spiral into hell. And apparently it's Ken Martin, the guy who runs the DNC, is hiding out now because he held back the autopsy of the 2024 election. He held it back. He covered it up, and now he's hiding out. The Democrat Party is broke. They have no money whatsoever. They literally had to put the DNC headquarters. They had to put the DNC headquarters as collateral for a loan. Yes, they put the DNC headquarters at a loan, and I don't know what they went to. They went one of those loan payday loan places, I guess, and went in there. You know, the payday loan places, they're the old Taco Bells. They look like the casita, you know, and you could tell it was an old Taco Bell or an old Pizza Hut, that thing, you know, and it's always the payday loan place. So apparently they went into the payday loan place. They put up the DNC headquarters. They're paying 70% interest. It's like Rent-A-Center, and and they think they're going to win here in the fall. But here's Jesse Waters last night talking about the DNC cover-up and the DNC collapse.
We're up inside of the DNC. Leaks everywhere. Remember the autopsy report?
Yeah.
They audited why they lost.
Yeah.
Well, a chapter went missing about Biden, money, and the consultant class.
Wow.
More on that in a second.
Yes.
The autopsy's author says he personally handed the chapter in a 3-ring binder to the chairman of the DNC,
Yeah.
Ken Martin,
Yep.
and said it was never seen again until now. Now, Ken Martin denies he's in on the cover-up, but
Sure.
this should be easy to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Pull the emails, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Uh-oh.
All the emails wiped clean. They
Isn't that amazing? Democrats have a habit of wiping clean their emails, don't they?
pulled a crooked, deleted for security purposes.
Yes.
The autopsy's author says he knows why they nuked the chapter. That chapter was basically the cause of death.
What's that?
Why the Democrats lost.
Why is that?
And this is what they were trying to hide.
Is it because they were completely out of touch with the middle class, and grocery prices went up 30%, and home prices doubled, and rents went up dramatically, and the price of a car effectively doubled as well while Joe Biden was the president?
Quote, there are too many people who have become generationally wealthy off politics.
Those are oligarchs, by the way. They call those people oligarchs, and the Democrat Party's full of them.
And drive too much of the decision-making within the ecosystem. The people in the room at the highest levels of 24 decision-making misunderstood the mood and practicalities facing everyday America.
I told you, out of touch.
The secret chapter also says the Democrat politicians got so rich that they lost touch too.
Oh, yeah. Kamala Harris just bought an $8 million house.
Inflation, border, crime, they didn't care. Doesn't affect them.
No.
The secret chapter also said
What's that?
they knew Biden was going to lose,
Uh-oh.
but they were too busy getting paid to notice.
Wow.
So they covered it up.
There you go. So
And now,
there you go. So they knew Biden was going to lose. Maybe it wasn't the fact that his brain was gone, and we saw it on national television. Maybe, like Graham Plattner, they would have just pushed his corpse over the finish line, but they knew he was going to lose, and that's why they got rid of him. Oh, that's kind of an interesting twist, isn't it? We got much more on this coming up. Fred Fleitz joins us today on the show, and then the woman who has uncovered the non-existent voters who elected Zohran Mandami. She's going to be joining us on the show today. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
WCBM.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
It is the Rob Carson Show, broadcasting from new studios here in the heart of Washington, D.C. on 14th Street. A stone's throw from the Capitol, if you can throw a stone, about a mile and a half. Not far from the White House, actually. So hopefully one day I'll get over to the White House and maybe go into the Oval Office and stuff. We'll see. We'll see. I was just talking to a friend of mine about Paramount Plus. There's this new show they've got. Well, it's not new, but it's, I think, their third season, and it's called The Lioness. And I was talking to a friend of mine who I've been carpooling. Actually, I'm the only one driving. He doesn't drive. I'm just letting him ride in the truck with me. But anyway, he said it's really good. So I'm taking a couple days off. I'm going to binge watch that on Paramount Plus. Landman is on there too, by the way, and Paramount Plus is a proud sponsor of this here broadcast, and we're proud to have them. But it was nice to hear from my buddy. He said it's really, I mean, he sold me all the way to work until I turned on the Metallica, and then he just kind of sat there and, enjoyed the Metallica. So there you go. That's how I start my day. Let me see. Democrat Socialists face a prove it moment in battleground Wisconsin and states around the country, by the way. I like to say that the Democrat Socialists have picked a very bad year to make their move on the country, considering that Joe Biden destroyed the economy, caused unaffordability to happen. We're in the 250th anniversary of the year of our birth. The anniversary of the 25th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up. So they picked a really, really bad time to make their move, and they think because they have a little bit of momentum in places like New York and Colorado that they are going to just take over the country. They're going to overthrow the country. They're going to overthrow the most successful country in the history of mankind with a GDP that has been leading the world for a century, with the most amount of inventions, revolutionary ideas, the greatest minds in world history, the truest melting pot of civilizations around the country, more than any other country in the world. If you don't believe me, look at the Chinese Olympic team. What does the Chinese Olympic team have in common? What? They're all Chinese. Okay, so we are a great American melting pot. All of our relatives, all of our ancestors, we are the sons and daughters of immigrants. Yet these idiots, these first generation morons like Francesca Hong from Wisconsin, who grew up, of course, in Madison, bat guano crazy central, and was spoiled and entitled little girl. Her mom and dad came over and made a living from Korea. They probably love America, but they suddenly have decided, after coming from the hellholes that they come from, like Uganda with Zohran Mandami, and only living here a few years, that somehow they're going to wrest the country from the rest of us, whose ancestors came here, assimilated, and fought, and many died or returned home with profound injuries, physical and sometimes mental, and they're going to take over the country and just say, give the keys to us. Yeah, good luck with that, Junior. Good luck with that. It ain't going to work. Jesse Waters was talking last night about the Democrat Party. Kamala Harris thinks that somehow, it's really funny. You got a lot of these Democrats who've been in office forever. Chris Van Hollen, he thinks he's going to run for president. He's never going to be the president. He's not likable enough. He doesn't have the appeal. He's a moron, and he's allowed these vampires into the tent of the Democrat Party, the Democratic Socialists of America. Kamala Harris still thinks she has a shot in 2028, but Democrat insiders already know that her candidacy is dead.
The rich consultants are soothing donors. Quote, I call it the Kamala mirage. Her name does not come up. She's not part of people's calculus for 28.
No, they aren't even considering it. She can go out and do all these speeches and everything, but she's already done. They wasted $2 billion on her. She hasn't learned anything, and she's still an idiot.
Whether she runs or not. But what's not a mirage?
What's that?
This commie wave.
Yeah.
The flavor of the month is leaving a bad taste.
Could you ever support a self-described socialist candidate?
No. No way. My God.
Joe Manchin, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
Even
And it
if they have some
surprises.
good ideas?
No, the good, I support the good ideas, but how could you support some of the
They're
crazy
trying to find a good idea. They don't have any good ideas.
stuff they're for? Have you seen their platform? They're for just dismantling everything that
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
No police, no this, no this, no that.
It's not gonna
Are
happen.
you crazy?
The commie wave's bad for business. The party elders know it, and so do the donors. The Cajun's done raging. He's just giving up.
It may be that the two-party system is just going to be under tremendous stress here in the coming months. And I can't sit here and tell you for certainty how this is going to turn out. But the one thing I can tell you for certain,
What's that?
Hassan Piker and James Carville are not going to be in the same political party.
Yeah, that's true.
One of us is going to leave. It might even be me.
The commie wave's crashing and fracturing the party.
Yeah.
Even Bill Maher's flirting with MAGA.
I know.
It's so funny. So many liberals themselves every time Trump puts gold on something in the Oval Office. Oh, it's historic. And the separation of powers isn't? Get your head out of your ass. I would vote for Sarah Palin before this.
Now, you'll recall I covered all this yesterday, and the Democrat Party is cleaving in two. It's actually more like 1/3 versus 2/3 who aren't interested in socialism, the other third that's down with it, all right? So it's cleaving in half. So you Democrats, you're going to have to either kick the DSA out or you're going to be on your own. They don't have enough to win nationally, and you don't have enough to win in a third party that won't work. So maybe you ought to work on getting rid of them. How about that? Let's take a break and come back. More of the Rob Carson Show on the way. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount Plus. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman. Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
When let us sit aside, cause it's quite an attack, cyclosporin. When raspberries you eat keeps you on the throne seat, cyclosporin. Stomach churns and you'll feel some burns as the parasite starts to infect you. To the drugstore you go, pick up some Pepto that you know won't protect you or affect you. Taco that you consumed, it was safe, you assumed cyclosporin. The feeling you get that you'd like to forget you're in pain. When it's clear you are one suffering senorita. Excuse me, can't you see no more salads for me, cyclosporin? Cyclosporin. When let us sit aside, cause it's quite an attack, cyclosporin. When raspberries you eat keeps you on the throne seat, cyclosporin. Stomach churns and you'll feel some burns as the parasite starts to infect you. To the drugstore you go, pick up some Pepto that you know won't protect you or affect you. Taco that you consumed, it was safe, you assumed cyclosporin. The the feeling you get that you'd like to forget you're in pain. When it's clear you are one suffering señore. Excuse me, can't you see no more salads for me, cyclosporate? Cyclosporate.
Doug took Relief Factor for nearly a year before convincing his wife, a special needs teacher, to try it. She had been using assistance just to move through the long hallway at school. Now she's back on her feet every day. Never had to leave the job she loves. I can attest to this. I ride my mountain bike every weekend from 30 to 50 miles. I lift weights, and I'm lifting heavier than I did when I was 30 without pain. People like Doug make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you what you love. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us too. relieffactor.com or 1-800-4RELIEF. This is Brandon Gill. Brandon Gill, a lot of people talking about maybe eventually running for president. Sure. I mean, that's great. That's cool. I wish him all the best. He's 32. He's not old enough to run yet. But no doubt he is a rising star in the Republican Party, known for his brilliant interrogation of people before Congress. Here he is talking about the Democrat Party's implosion.
Well, I think the Democrat Party is starting to implode under this. I think they're losing Democrats across the country who look at stuff like this and think that defunding prisons is insane, or if you're not going to
Yeah, most Democrats, as much as they are crazy about some things, you may recall that, like for instance, the people on Capitol Hill in the Democrat Party, all of them believe that boys can become girls and compete in girl sports, but 95% or so, maybe 90% of Democrats, by and large, do not. You see, there's a separation between the leadership and the core Democrats out there, and I would venture to say, considering how many Democrats maybe are police officers, I'm not thinking that most of them are going to agree to get rid of the police, get rid of prisons.
Fund prisons, adding a food delivery service for prisoners, that's just genuinely nuts. And when they're not doing that, they're trying to defund the police, and they're trying to trans 3-year-olds, and they're trying to put drag queens in little kids' schools, and they're letting criminals loose on our streets.
One of the things that's happening right now is people outside of the party, like James Carville and Bill Maher, they're the ones who are speaking up about how the Democrat Party needs to get rid of the DSA. Right now, in rank-and-file membership of the Democrat Party and the Democrat Party leadership, there are still idiots like Chris Van Hollen who say, oh, we're a big tent. Nobody in the DSA wants to be in that tent with Chris Van Hollen. They want to get rid of him. They've already said, even before he even won, this El Sayed in Michigan has said that he's not going to vote for Schumer to be head of the Senate. So they're already dead. They just don't know it yet.
I mean, it goes on and on and on about how the new Democrat Party, the Democrat Party under these socialists, with Mamdani as the key ideological leader, is making life tangibly worse for the people that they govern.
Yeah.
That's turning our streets into third world hellholes, and they're doing it with a smile on their face because they know that's ultimately their goal. Their goal is control of these cities, but it is also to create an environment that they believe will be conducive to their political future, regardless of what it means for your average American or your average New Yorker.
Yeah, and this is Victor Davis Hanson talking about how Democrats in the party are terrified to speak up, and that's ridiculous. How about grow a frickin' pair? How about grow a pair, stand up and do something about this? If we had Marxists and communists trying to take over the Republican Party, by God, there would be people who say, yeah, you're not allowed here. You're not going to be allowed here. Instead, Democrats are such meow-meows, the men in the party particularly, that they are like, oh, no, we'll just have a big tent. We'll invite the communists and the Marxists and the Nazis. Hell, Nazis, we got room in Nazis. No, you don't. Here's Victor Davis Hanson.
They are, but the people who are actually in office and want to stay in office, like a Gavin Newsom, he said the other day that capitalism doesn't work anymore. I'm quoting him nearly verbatim. And so a lot of these officials, they have their
capitalism works perfectly. Actually, it's absolutely awesome. It's created untold riches. It's caused this innovation that took us out of the dark ages. And one of our founding fathers actually discovered electricity. For God's sake,
fingers in the wind, and they don't know which way to go. So the people on the outside that are not up for re-election, or their political careers are non-existent, or they haven't rebooted them. They're criticizing this and saying, "Come on!" Yeah. But the people who think that this is the new wave of the future, they're terrified, and they're not coming out. So it's very rare to see an elected official, a senator, a House member, come out as strong as Carville or Mark Penn or any of those guys, and that's their problem. They need the people in office to take a risk.
Yeah, here is Chris Van Hollen, who had a margarita with a gang member, and he thinks, by the way, don't waste your money. He thinks he's going to run for president. He's never going to be the president, ever, ever, ever. He does not have the character. He does not have the likability. He does not have the connectivity to become the president of the United States. He will never make it as a candidate for president of the United States, as the primary candidate against a Republican candidate for president of the United States. If he believes that, he's smoking some serious weed. I'm not sure if it's legal where he's from, but anyway, let's see, Maryland, yeah, it is. So obviously smoking some weed. Here he is talking about the possibility of, kicking the tires on a presidential run, and then how the DSA is more than welcome in the Big Ten of the Democrat Party.
You yourself have suggested you may run for president of the United States. And my question for you, as someone who's been taking a progressive lead in your party, what role should the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, have with the Democratic Party?
Well, Casey, you're right. I've said I'm kicking the tires, and my view is that
the tire's flat. And the tire, honestly, there's no putting air in that tire.
Are a big tent party, meaning we should make room for people with lots of different voices. I mean,
including people who are anti-Semites, who want to get rid of the Senate, who want to get rid of the police, who want to get rid of the border. Really? If you're cool with that in your tent, you are screwed.
People within the party can decide to agree or disagree with particular proposals. But look,
you don't understand. They're going to force it down your throat.
We all encouraged our colleagues to support Joe Manchin. He was the Democrat that could win in West Virginia, and I certainly supported
him. Yeah, and he's moderate, by the way.
Joe.
He didn't want to get rid of the police.
And when Mandani becomes the Democratic nominee in New York City, we should be supporting Mandani. And I think the Democratic Party is big enough to be able to take both voices. And I think we need to have a debate, Casey, in the Democratic Party. We need to have a lot of churning. I actually think at this point in time, that's very helpful for...
No, it's not. It's very self-destructive. It's like inviting a convicted murderer to live in your home. That's what you're effectively doing. And it's really, really foolhardy. It's not open-minded. It's brainless. It's completely brainless, to be quite honest. Michael Smerconish was on. He's a liberal, commentator. He says some pretty smart stuff. He says that by investing in the DSA and allowing them into the tent, he is writing the ads. They are writing the ads for the Republican Party going into the midterms.
Using mass action to build a general strike, organizing to abolish ICE, working to free Palestine and oppose Israel. I also read use of the word comrade in the agenda.
Yeah.
Isn't DSA essentially writing the GOP's scripts for commercials that we're going to see in the fall?
I don't really care what the GOP has in mind.
Well, you'd better start caring, because you're going to get your rear end kicked up between your shoulders. Yeah. Oh, by the way, and here is something that I hinted at yesterday, and I believe it more so, and I posted it on all my social media, at Rob Carson Show. This DSA movement is coming from Beijing. It's not organic. It's coming from Beijing. Several of these DSA principals have signed an agreement with the Chinese Communist Party to promote the CCP and working with China. This is an operation by China to overthrow the American government, get rid of the Senate, all of that. All of that is coming from Beijing. We'll explain on the other side. Jim Banks talked about that. But that's where this is coming from. And so this makes it less about an election and more about an attempt at a hostile takeover of the United States and an overturn of our government by a foreign agent with people working with that foreign agent. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. It is a Rob Carson Show. This is Jim Banks, Republican, talking about the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. It's not an organic movement at all. It's completely made up, and we know that the Chinese Communist Party has been, spending a lot of money. We know that Donald Trump did a speech a couple weeks ago where he just read declassified data about 220 million Americans' voter information being taken by the Chinese Communist Party. And we have what I believe right now is an attempt by the Chinese Communist Party to overthrow our government. That's what this is really about. China hacked, bought, or stole access to 220 million voter records to mine the personal identifying information of Americans. China imported 20,000 fake driver's licenses to be used for 2020 voter registrations. China conducted a massive election influence initiative to denigrate President Trump using social media, U.S. journalists, and pressure on political and financial supporters. You had the agencies of our governments, the intelligence community, covering up Chinese interference, not sharing the data with Donald Trump, including the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the Bureau of Intelligence and Research for the State Department. All of these things add up to one thing, that this DSA movement is not organic at all.
This is what they want to do to America, turn it into communist China. And this letter by the leadership of DSA makes that very clear. They stand with socialist, communist China, and they want the rest of the world to take a page from China's playbook and become that. Yep. People in America complain about surveillance, flock cameras, things like that. Do you know what the Chinese government does with surveillance cameras? They round up Uyghur Muslims and put them in detention camps, and with human rights abuses, force them to make tennis shoes and other products to sell to the rest of the world. That's what the DSA, the socialist wing of the Democrat Party, wants to turn America into that kind of country where you don't own your job, you don't own your house, you don't own your car. The government owns it for you. And we all know that communism is shared poverty for everybody. So the DSA is telling us out loud exactly what they want to do to America in this letter. They stand with the socialist policies of communist China. That's what they want to turn America into, and we can't let them do that.
Trusted Elections results in Georgia. Voter GA released an urgent message on Monday calling on President Trump to declare a national emergency to save our U.S. elections. This after an intelligence agency has become so corrupted they hid Chinese election intrusion from the president in the run-up to the 2020 election. President Trump released one set of documents following his July 16th address to the nation that the National Security Agency, along with other groups in the intelligence community, withheld election manipulation evidence from Congress and the president daily briefing through the 2020 election cycle, and it's still going on. And that's what we're experiencing right now. This is the money of Neville Singham, among others, and that's why people like these influencers who praise Mao are now openly campaigning with people like this Abdul Al-Sayed in Michigan, who probably will win the primary today and become the Democrat candidate for the state of Michigan, and will be beaten, I think, very roundly by the Republican candidate. This is Victor Davis Hanson talking about and something that I had said about what the Democrats had done. And that was after years of indoctrinating students, after years of saying that you should kneel during the national anthem, you should take the Pledge of Allegiance out of schools, you should take, get rid of history, take down the statues of Columbus, all of this. It's finally come back to bite the Democrat Party in the rear end. They've created a Frankenstein monster. I want to get that audio in a second. I want to go to Farmer David in Delaware, though. I understand he's been holding. Farmer David in Delaware just happens to be is it a chicken rancher? Are you a chicken rancher or a chicken farmer? What do you call yourself?
That would be a chicken farmer, Rob.
All right, I got you. What's up, man? What's up?
Raise about 200,000 birds.
Dang it!
I have 3 farms I run. I'm a chicken manager, actually.
That's a lot of wings. That's a lot of wings and nuggets.
Yeah, it sure is.
All right, go ahead. What's your point?
And we do it. Well, so anyway, I was going to point out the fact that I thought it was neat you brought up Bill Maher. because he's kind of a smart guy, right? And I kind of noticed that in the background, he actually had people cheering for some of these conservative talking points. So, like, maybe he's smart enough to have figured out that, hey, this is everybody else is going down the tube.
Yeah.
And maybe this is not the right direction, the same thing as the country.
Yeah.
And it's almost like an idiom for it. And I thought it was kind of neat that he's getting different viewers. I'm actually starting to maybe become a fan.
Well, you know what I've been saying for a long time? I said 80% of us believe the country was headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us can come together to save it. And right now, exactly as I said, there are 20% of Democrats in leadership that are going down this direction. And 80% of, I think, well, maybe not that many, but a good share of Democrats do not want to go down this rabbit hole. And Bill Maher appears to be the leader of that movement. And I give him a lot of kudos for doing it. Farmer Dave, we got to go, brother. I appreciate you. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract, and now you just don't want to?
How are you? I'm confident we're going to beat their arses. They picked a really poor year to try to take over our country. It's not going to work. What are we talking about here? Infection? Somebody got a dog bite? What? Somebody got a dog bite and sepsis? That's terrible. Daughter had to take a day off while the sick Shih Tzu gets several tests that her husband had to stay overnight for observation. Intravenous antibiotics. We get a what? Okay, anyway. Wow, that sounds terrible. Holy hell. Wow. PF05. Hope you guys are okay. I know you're talking about ailments here. I don't want to try to chime in here without knowing exactly what's going on, but I hope you're okay, for goodness sake. I hope you're okay. Let's go to the YouTubeage. Scott Davies, hello. Francesca Hong wants to Thanksgiving. I know, she's an idiot. She's a spoiled, entitled child. She's a bug-eyed communist freak. She is, insanity in her eyes. You can just see it. She's out of her nut. She's out of her league. She has some sort of control complex. She feels that somehow she's entitled, that she can tell business owners and police officers that she's just going to take over. Okay, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Let's see who else is going over here. Let me go over to Facebook, see who's watching on Facebook. Let's see what we got here, Facebook. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'm taking tomorrow, Thursday, Friday off, driving to Kansas City. And I need the break more than you'll ever know. Narrow lead. Okay. Tallarico's ahead of Ken Paxton, barely in Texas. I think that lead's going to fade. Here we go.
3:45 here.
New York Mayor Mandani once tweeted Karl Marx's words exactly. They're not trying to hide it. Their most popular influencer, Hassan Piker, thinks communism is so groovy. He laments the fall of the two of the most murderous regimes in history, the Soviet Union and Chairman Mao's China. Mandami's aide, his top aide, Sia Weaver, said, if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize property, it's over, and impoverish the white middle class. What? That's a goal? You know you're supposed to scare people into voting for you, right?
Yeah.
One of the new soon-to-be Democratic congresspeople, Darlisia Chevalier, supports seizing all properties from landlords and said, seize the means of production. Mandami has said the end goal is seizing the means of production. I think they want to seize the means of production.
Yeah, it's not going to happen either, because there's about 100 million of us, homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews, who aren't going to let that happen. No. By the way, anti-Jewish incidents accounted for 70% of all reported hate crimes in New York City in July, with data showing anti-Jewish hate crimes up 8.5% since the first months of Mayor Zohran Mandami's administration. I wonder what caused that. Oh, maybe the fact that he's a friggin' Islamist anti-Semite. I told you what happens. What happens when a party goes socialist and anti-Semite? Look at Germany in the 1930s. And I'm not screwing around. They look at us as the United States as the, what do they call it in Home Alone, the silver tuna? That's what the communist Chinese in the world looks at the United States, taking over the United States as a silver tuna. But we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let spoiled, entitled children take over the country. As I mentioned, Victor Davis Hanson used the Frankenstein analogy after I did a couple weeks ago about this Democrat Socialist movement, which I do believe will be unsuccessful.
It's the proverbial Dr. Frankenstein thought it was kind of cute to make a monster, and then the monster devoured them. Yeah. They were the ones that destroyed the border. They're the ones that talked about packing the court, getting rid of the Electoral College, defunding the police. And then these socialists came along and said, well, that's a good start, but you lost the Senate, you lost the House, you lost the presidency, you lost the Supreme Court. We're going to take over, and we're going to go to the next level. Yeah. Thank you for the boost and the electrical shock to bring us to life, and now we don't need you anymore. That's their attitude.
Yeah, so they didn't learn anything from the 2024 election. The Democrat Party didn't, and these punks are coming in, and they're going to take it further left. They think that Kamala Harris wasn't left enough, even though she was thoroughly rejected for being left. That's why I contend that this isn't going to work on a national level. So you're probably going to get Abdul Al-Sayed winning today in Michigan. Great, cool. That's the candidate I wanted because what's her name? The one who sounds like Chris Farley. She was much more of a challenge to the Republican there than this guy. Because on a national level, this stuff ain't going to fly. It's just not going to fly. And I've got to remain confident in my predictions, and I have to believe that if we overwhelm them with faith and patriotism, that we will win this because we're not giving up our country to these people. Let's take a break and come back. Hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. Fred Fleitz joins us, among other things. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
Live from Newsmax Studios in Washington, D.C., the most interesting, informative, and funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2. We're going to be talking to Fred Fleitz at the bottom of the hour, senior fellow for the America First Policy Institute. That's kind of a big deal. Also, he's also a great guest. Talking a little about what's going on with Iran. Donald Trump doing, I guess, the final line in the sand today. There's no negotiating with them. They just need to be wiped off the face of the planet. Next hour, Marley Hornik. She is with Real America Vote, and she discovered that the margin of victory, just slightly over the margin of victory for Zohran Mandami in the city of New York, were absolutely non-existent fraudulent votes and voters. Non-existent Social Security numbers and whatnot. We're going to talk to her about that next hour. She's not saying the election was stolen. She's just saying that if you got rid of those fraudulent votes and voters, that he would have lost. You see the difference? Because you wouldn't want to say there's voter fraud in the country, because, my God, there's no voter fraud in the country. Oh, my God, there's certainly no voter fraud in the country, and the sky is green. Yeah, there's no voter fraud. Oh, except for in New Jersey, where 400 illegals actually voted, and old Mikey Sherrill is not going to turn over the words. This is Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler's an impressive individual. He's been working the hell out of the state of Pennsylvania. And here's the big news. And here's Stephen Turley to announce it. Scott Pressler, through his efforts, are you ready with this? Is about to flip Pennsylvania Republican. I don't say red, okay? Because Republicans aren't red. Communists are red. When Barack Obama ran for president, they decided to switch the colors so it wouldn't paint Barack Obama as what he is, which is a Marxist and a communist. So they called us red. It's always been stupid. So I don't say they're going to flip it red. Scott Pressler's going to flip it Republican. More registered Republicans in Pennsylvania than Democrats.
Pressler posted these words. He couldn't contain himself. Quote, "I'm in tears. I'm screaming. The Pennsylvania Department of State just conducted one of its biggest purges ever. Democrats lost..."
Yeah, they're getting rid of a lot of dead people and people who shouldn't be on the voting rolls.
Tens of thousands of voters.
Yeah.
It's happening. It's actually happening.
I know.
And what's actually happening there is that we are now just 25,000 active voters away from officially flipping Pennsylvania red.
Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be something else? And you know what? I think it's great because the people of Pennsylvania deserve better than the idiots who run it right now. I mean, Pennsylvania is a beautiful state. I love Pennsylvania. When I lived in Maryland, we'd go up to Pennsylvania, go up to Lancaster County, go up to Hershey, Pennsylvania, go out to Bedford Springs and out in central Pennsylvania. It's a lovely state. Pittsburgh's a great town. Philly, pretty nice, I guess, parts of it. But Pennsylvania is a great state. It's just run by a bunch of idiots, and it sounds like there's a possibility we could finally wrest the control of the state of Pennsylvania out of the hands of the idiots. So maybe some smart people would actually run the thing. This is Scott Pressler talking about the 400 voters, illegals who voted in the state of New Jersey. Mikey Sherrill is not going to turn over the names of the 6,600 illegal aliens who are registered to vote, and the 400 who voted who should be denaturalized and deported from the country for voting, okay? But she's not going to turn over the information. But you think that, 400 votes, that's not a big deal. No, 400 votes is a really, really big deal.
In 2008, Al Franken was elected by 312 votes. In New Jersey, Governor Mikey Sherrill, Democrat, said that 6,600 illegal aliens are on the voter rolls and
250,000 illegals on the voter rolls in just 4 states.
400 of those voted.
Why are they registered to vote? What do you do? What do you want to do when you register to vote? Is it get a fishing license? Is it to enroll somewhere? Or is it that, you want to vote?
400 is more than 300.
Or Democrats want you to vote.
12. Anyone that says that 400 is a low number, a statewide election was decided by that. Yeah. John Duarte lost by 187 votes as a congressman in California, 187 votes. And Michelle Steele in California lost her race by 653 votes. And one last one.
Okay.
Iowa was decided by 6 votes in 2020.
Wow.
I know my stats.
You know your stats. Are you changing anyone's minds? Because we know how entrenched people are on their sides, and as soon as they see you, they go, that's that guy. But are they listening to that guy?
I think the hair wins them over. I think when they see the hair and my jovial nature, but more importantly, you know who came out in support of basically the Save America Act? James Carville, one of the lead proponents.
Yeah, and that's another one of those 80-20 issues with the Democrat Party. 80% of Democrats, maybe a little bit less, are fine with the voter ID. It's no big deal. Who's against it? The leaders of your Democrat Party. They're the ones. They're the ones who are for Democrat socialism and allowing Democrat socialism, getting rid of the Senate, getting rid of the border, getting rid of police. I know. It's insane. It's insane. I like to say that the left exposes its flanks so we can kick their ass. And that's what we have to do here. And I have said for a very long time that 80% of us, before Donald Trump was elected, 80% of us believed that the country was headed in the wrong direction. I said 80% of us could come together to save her. I'd like to get back to where it used to be with Democrats and Republicans, where we could disagree on some things. Basically, the difference between Democrats and Republicans is Democrats want a strong central government, and Republicans want states' rights. But the Democrat Party has leaned further and further and further and further and further and further left. John F. Kennedy's Democrat Party is dead, gone, over. And the only people who can save the Democrat Party are Democrats. That's it. And what's going to happen in this next election, I believe, is that Democrats are going to leave or they're going to sit at home because they would rather not vote. This is the guy calling C-SPAN the other day. He's an older gentleman, and he says he's not going to be a part of a party that supports the DSA.
So now, in order to stop this insanity from the Democratic Party, I'm going to have to hold my nose and vote Republican, because I would rather vote Republican and have this country stay the United States of America, the Democratic Party, the Democratic country we are, than to turn it over to a bunch of lunatic socialists. That's what they are. And you name me one socialist country that is not on their hands and knees right now struggling. And that's where we'll be if we continue down this road.
Yeah, and by the way, whenever this socialism has been tried, ultimately people flee en masse from the municipalities and the states. We're seeing this in Seattle. We're seeing this in New York. We are seeing this in California. We're seeing it in Maryland. Maryland's getting ready to get rid of all representation of Republicans. I would not live in Maryland. There's no friggin' way I'd live in Maryland. It's insane. I was talking to my guy I was carpooling with today, and he's talking about buying a house in Maryland. I said, well, good luck. You're going to pay 70% more for utilities in Maryland because of green energy nonsense. Same goes with New York. There's a real chance that a Republican is going to win the governorship in the state of New York. But the left thinks that this is going to fly nationally, even though whenever it is victorious in whatever municipality or state, people flee en masse. It's not going to work. And no matter the amount of temper tantrums, no matter the high-profile energy that you have, it's not going to win. You know why? Because we're not going to let it happen, are we? We're not going to let it happen. No. I want to talk a little bit about this Francesca Hong. Bananas. Francesca Hong is running for the governor in the state of Wisconsin. She's 37 years old. She has no life experience at all. Her parents brought her here from Korea as a little girl or maybe an infant. They lived the American dream, and she got indoctrinated. And they were in Madison, Wisconsin, which is a harbinger of nutbaggery. And she is now a complete Democrat socialist. I'm going to get into some of the insanity that surrounds her. I mean, literally, she was diagnosed bipolar in high school. She had a cutting disorder. She was institutionalized. Okay, she's bat guano crazy, and there's a very good chance she could be the Democrat Party candidate for the state of Wisconsin. But I think soon thereafter, the people of Wisconsin will realize that she's too insane to run. Here's Jesse Waters on Francesca Hong.
The other big race in the Rust Belt, Wisconsin governor. Democrats are stuck with this woman, Francesca Hong. She thinks tipping's racist.
Yeah.
Our industry really did come from it and kind of is rooted in white supremacy, that tipping in itself. If we look at the history of tipping and how racist it is and how it has kept wages low.
How do you guys who wait tables and get tips for a living, you Uber drivers, you think it's racist when they give you that big tip?
For black people for...
Yeah, if you think it's racist, you can just say, nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the tip at all.
Very long time.
So she wants to defund your tips and police. Yeah. But what she hates the most?
What?
Are whites.
Uh-oh.
I ate 2 bites of my kid's cheeseburger at a Culver's in Black River Falls and told them they ran out of ice cream. Mostly just wanted to leave BC. I was on the verge of an anxiety attack. Too many old white people who didn't think we spoke English. This woman can't be in a room with white people without getting anxious. 75% of the state's white. Yeah. She's running for governor.
Yeah, we will see. Madison, Wisconsin is an island of insanity on its own. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Rutherford County.
Gotta rejoin.
But in most places on earth, they believe that your rights come from your government and from your laws. But ours was founded on the belief that rights come from your creator and from God.
Come on. So, as a piece from Ed Bradner in CNN, Democrat Socialists face a prove-it moment in Battleground, Wisconsin. Polls show this Francesca Hong, the 37-year-old state assemblywoman from Madison, at the forefront of the Democrat field fighting for the nomination. The August 11th primary to replace outgoing Governor Tony Evers, and she will be taking on U.S. Representative Tom Tiffany in November. I need to play my Jessica Hong theme song. This is my Jessica Hong theme song.
Number one super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. Hong Kong Phooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Phooey, quicker than the human eye. Tick-a-chong, 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 in the bow, wow, wow.
That is the
Hong Kong Phooey.
Van Riffick. Don't even know what that meant. Never did. I was, child of the 70s and 80s and Hong Kong Phooey. That's the theme song to a cartoon from, I believe, Sid and Marty Krofft. It was terrible. But I thought it fit because, you see, I'm mocking and ridiculing her. In case you didn't know, I'm mocking and ridiculing her because she should be a subject of ridicule because she's bat guano crazy. She should be institutionalized. And I'm not talking about working for a government institution. No, I'm talking about institutionalized like she was in high school because she's bipolar with a cutting disorder. Yeah. And this is the thing. You got liberal Democrat women have a very high propensity for being mentally ill. Now they're running for office. This woman clearly, if you listen to what she says, she's nuts. If you think getting rid of law enforcement is reasonable, you're nuts. Now, this Tom Tiffany isn't waiting for the primary votes to be counted. He's already started to tee off on Hong, latching her to the Democratic Socialists of America platform, accusing her of supporting abolition of prisons, ICE, the U.S. Senate, and more. And it also cites her history of defunding the police. She wanted to get rid of Thanksgiving. She's brainwashed academic, because, we colonized and all of this. And sorry, the whole friggin' world's been colonized over and over and over and over again. And sorry, we've kind of moved on here. All right. We've created the greatest engine of individual and economic freedom in the history of mankind. So knock it off. All right. But here she is doubling down on her hate of Thanksgiving, talking about why she doesn't support Thanksgiving, where we thank God, the God that we say that our rights come from. Okay, that is bigger than government. We thank God. One of the most benevolent holidays in the history of holidays, where you just stop what you're doing for a day and thank God for the blessings that God has given you and feast with your friends and families in joy. And this woman is so bat crap crazy, she can't do that.
Where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted.
She's a walking academic cliche.
Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I hope you like word salad for your Thanksgiving table. Listen.
I'm a chef, and one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal.
Great.
I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing.
Okay.
But
why don't you want Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our
Really? Is it really painful? Is Thanksgiving really painful for who?
Our communities.
For our communities. Okay. Who are our communities? Really? You're a spoiled, entitled brat whose parents got out of Korea to come here and raise you.
So I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve. And the position that I'm running for right now, and I think my background as a
you're full of hate. You failed in your life. You ran a restaurant into the ground. That's the only experience you have. So you're failing, and you think because you're failing, it's the country that failed you. And that is absolutely not the case. Here she is talking about abolishing the police. She believes this wholeheartedly.
Abolishing policing is one segment of reforming and reevaluating our criminal justice system. Using those funds using the funds after we've eliminated the access to eliminating funds for the police needs to be put into rehabilitation services, mental health services for those in prison.
Does that include the murderers and stuff? The murderers and the rapists and stuff? They just need mental health counseling. You're the one who needs the mental health counseling. Here she is being asked by Dana Bash if she's evolved on the defunding the police, and she admits tacitly, nope, she hasn't evolved one little bit. She's still down with it, and she would do it in the State House.
That I think that people can evolve, that I am going to be a sensible and practical governor that is going to...
Really, what about your positions say anything about sensible or practical?
To make sure that public safety is a priority. And
with what?
You evolved on that. Serious. I think that what, my values are where some of my beliefs are as well. But where my values are is in...
What are your values? You want to get rid of Thanksgiving.
Making sure that public safety is for everyone, that everyone has access to it. And I think...
I think most people, in fact, I'd say 100% of people are down with that.
That, what I believed in the past, that can evolve, but I still know that I cannot defund police as governor, and what I want to do is make sure that we're fully funding and investing in the community programs that we know actually work. That data shows.
And this is where you descend into faculty lounge mental masturbation.
Builds community safety. And again, the belief that I have, the values that I hold, is that everyone has a right to feel safe and be safe.
Oh, my God. Well, certainly any Republican would say only certain segments of the community should actually feel safe and be safe. I mean, honestly, stating the obvious that no fool would ever disagree with, but then pledging to do the opposite with regard to actually preventing crime from happening. It's insanity, okay? The Democrat Party and the DSA are Animal Farm meets George Orwell's 1984. That's what it is. Let's take a break and come back. We've got the one and only Fred Fleitz to talk about Iran and other stuff on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount Plus. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman. Now streaming on Paramount Plus. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when it comes to supplements, two things matter most. A, that it works, and B, that you can trust it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, including mine, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Chris has spent years of doing physical work, leaving his feet sore at the end of the day. After starting Relief Factor, he felt so good, he did something he'd never done before. He ran a half marathon. Now he tells all his friends about Relief Factor. I can still move furniture, I can still ride my mountain bike, I can still lift heavy weights, and Relief Factor makes all of those tasks pain-free for me. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us too. Again, ReliefFactor.com or 800-4RELIEF.
In the region, as the Middle East waits to see if a deal will be reached or we'll see a return to war. Guys?
So Trey, real quickly, the president talked about the military operation that was leaked over the weekend. It's obviously, they need to figure out who's leaking from the White House. That has to be someone high within government that put that out there to sources. It's our job as the press to cover that. But I'm curious from your perspective and your sources on the state of play that league played out in the Middle East, and who then phoned the White House to get to the negotiating table.
So the story breaking here is a high-level U.S. government official leaked crucial military plans from President Trump on Iran, faces calls to be imprisoned. I'm just getting details on this. I was tipped off via text a little while ago, but I'd love to hear what Fred Fleitz has to say about it, senior fellow, America First Policy Institute, and one of our favorite guests, Fred Fleitz. How are you on this glorious Tuesday, sir?
Pretty good. Good to be here.
Sounds like somebody could be in a little hot water, and it sounds like there are a lot of people in the deep state. It sounds maybe working against the president in a number of ways. Have you heard much about this leak of military plans and who may have leaked it?
Yeah, this is a new story. There also are concerns that there have been leaks about the size of our arsenal, whether we're running low on missiles. But you know, I'm not really concerned about that because I think the president did the right thing in calling off the attack because the Saudis wanted him to press for diplomacy. And there's numerous reports today that diplomacy is moving forward. I don't know that it will succeed, but I got to tell you, Rob, diplomacy is a much better approach than, you know, basically sending Iran back to the Stone Age. We really don't want to do that if we don't have to. I think that's Trump's approach.
Well, I can understand, and I got to tell you, I'm more than impressed with how deliberate he has been, but my patience seems to be running thin. I was reading a piece earlier that there appear to be some moves within the country to overthrow. Where is that piece? A movement to bring the Shah. Is gaining some momentum in the country. Obviously, I don't have it in front of me. I wish I did. But what do you think about that? You know, obviously, the goal that many are hoping for is that the people of Iran will rise up. Thus far, they haven't, just because the Islamists have managed to kill so many citizens. What do you suppose the possibility of that happening are?
Well, I think the longer the naval blockade goes on, the greater the chances that the Iranian people will take over the country. The government is losing $300 to $500 million a day from this blockade. If it continues for months, the amount of pressure on this government will be astronomically more. They won't be able to pay the military and security services and police. Basic services won't be delivered to the people. There may not be electric power.
No.
Frankly, time plays to Trump's advantage here.
Yeah. Do you? I filled up my tank this morning for $3.86. I've never seen a military conflict where we were able to keep oil below $120 per barrel. When Joe Biden was the president, he said that if it went above $200 a barrel, then it would be above $200 a barrel as long as it takes. I would venture to say, while it has been certainly impacted a lot of people, it hasn't gone. I think he's done a pretty good job of managing the global price of oil through increased production in our country, and then, of course, the blockade of Iran.
And then with Venezuela, we have all this oil coming to us from Venezuela that would have been going to China. I mean, it made a real difference. The price of oil's gone up because the nature of the market, when there's some type of supply threat, even if there really isn't a lack of supply, the price will go up. It's psychological. But the prices haven't gone up dramatically. And I think that you're right. Trump is playing a patient game here. But I have to tell you, when he says this is Iran's last chance, he's given ultimatums like that before, like when he started the 12-day war. The Iranians would be fools to ignore that.
I guess I don't see how you can leave any seeds of the IRGC in power. They have to be driven from power. They have to be either killed or driven from power in some sort of fashion. Otherwise, they'll just come back. That's why I don't think negotiations, I think they're completely worthless with the people we're negotiating with.
We can't drive the IRGC from power from the air.
Yeah.
Either there has to be forces on the ground, and I don't want American troops there.
No.
Or the Iranian people have to do that. I think that with enough pressure, we can get an agreement, especially with the Saudis and the Omanis and the Qataris pressing the regime. I think we can get a settlement. Maybe we'll have to attack Iran again and put them through 60 days of this blockade. I do think the pressure will pay off. And I frankly, all these pundits on TV, they seem to think, well, let's just keep bombing them. Well, how are they going to end this? Because we can't destroy all their missiles. They'll always have a few more missiles to lob, and that's reported on CNN. It puts pressure on the president. His polls go down. We have to have a more deliberate strategy that focuses on how to get this regime out over the long term, how to increase the pain, and, just these Fox News people who say, look, we bombed them for 2 more weeks. We'll end the war. I don't think so.
Yeah. The son of the former Shah is ready to take over and replace the radical terrorist regime running the country for 47 years since the Shah was last in power. And there are many now calling for the Shah. He has already said, Pahlavi has said that he'd go back. David Spector of the New York Post says he's spoken with leaders inside Iran, risking everything to send one message to the world. They are preparing. They are learning from the uprising in January, and the momentum could be building. What do you? I mean, at this point, I wasn't crazy about him returning to Iran, but it sounds like he's ready, willing, and able. What do you suppose the possibility of that happening are?
It's very hard to assess what's going to happen if this regime falls, whether other armed groups, some new junta will be formed that will take over for the radical Islamists running the country. I don't think the Shah has an organization in Iran to take back the country.
Yeah.
I think there are elements of the country who like him. There also are elements who don't like him because they thought his father was a dictator, which he was.
Yes.
So I think he'd be a great choice. I like him. I've seen him speak. I think he has the best intentions to put another government in charge of the country. But I don't see how he's going to get there right now.
All right, we got Fred Fleitz, the American First Policy Institute, on the phone. I want to, in the next segment, if you could hold on, ask you about the Chinese Communist Party and the DSA and a possible connection there, because I don't believe this DSA movement is in any way, shape, or form organic, and I do believe it's directly tied with the Chinese Communist Party. So I'd like to touch with that on the other side of the break. If you could hold, Fred. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the Unfortunately, they're the world's most
This is what they want to do to America, turn it into communist China. And this letter by the leadership of DSA makes that very clear. They stand with socialist, communist China, and they want the rest of the world to take a page from China's playbook and become that. People in America complain about surveillance, flock cameras, things like that. Do you know what the Chinese government does with surveillance cameras?
Yeah, I think we have an idea. I think it's kind of curious and interesting that the Democratic Socialists of America have kind of just captured the spotlight, appear to have some sort of momentum. I don't think it's organic at all. I do believe, and it's kind of interesting, you know, a couple weeks ago, Donald Trump gave a speech where he talked about the fact that China hacked or bought or stole access to 220 million voter records to mine the personal identification of Americans. So I believe this is a Chinese operation, to be quite honest. I'd love to hear what Fred Fleitz has to say about that.
Well, I don't think it's a Chinese operation. I think these DSA people are so stupid they came up with this on their own. But I think the Chinese Communist Party has been actively egging them on and using their proxies, especially online, to clear the way, to make it as easy as possible for them to seize power. This must delight China's leaders to see this threat to democracy that I think actually is homegrown idiots.
Yeah.
Who had probably learned this on college campuses,
Yes.
Who knows who else. I mean, I don't think Bernie Sanders learned his loony left-wing socialist nonsense from the Chinese. He learned this himself. Remember, he took his honeymoon in Moscow. This guy's been a far-left wacko his whole life, but I'm sure the Chinese are involved.
Well, the Chinese have been involved in a lot of different ways. Neville Singham has been fomenting revolution in America, and I believe there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes with regard to the Chinese trying to foment insurgency in our country. As far as the Democrat Party is concerned, I kind of find it interesting, Fred, that the Democrats for the last at least I've been on radio 35 years. Have been pushing socialism in the classroom, getting rid of the Constitution, getting rid of the Pledge of Allegiance, saying that America is racist, colonizers, all of this stuff. And now their progeny have become this Democrat Socialists of America and are entering the tent of the Democrat Party, not to become a part of the Democrat Party, but to drive out the people who created them. Victor Davis Hanson used the analogy of the Frankenstein monster. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's exactly right. It's a very good way of looking at it. The older members of the Democratic Party have been moving away from our democratic republic for a long time. And now, as you said, their successors are taking this one step further, a step that the current class of people, like the Schumers and the Pelosi's, they weren't prepared to go there.
Yeah.
And I think, they're appalled at what their Frankenstein monster is turning out to be.
Well, I think that the problem is right now, and I had heard earlier, you got some voices outside of the party who are very vocal about James Carville. Bill Maher, I thought, was brilliant and articulate on this, and he even shocked his audience, his left of center audience, with how left that this movement is. And I think that until it registers with the people in power, that you cannot invite these people into the tent and think that you can moderate their views and work together. That's what's going to happen next. Or I think rank-and-file Democrat voters are going to either vote Republican or sit this one out. I don't think it's going to be successful for them.
I don't know about that. Look at all the Democrats who listened to the siren song on Mandami in New York and decided to back him because he's so popular. They thought they see an attractive, well-spoken, young liberal man who is inspiring young voters. And Democrats who want votes and they want power, a lot of them just couldn't stay away. Some of them did. But Governor Hochul did not, and I think we're going to see more and more of that, where the Democrats are going to embrace these guys, and they're going to lose big.
I think that Mandami is losing momentum. We just got a new a study today that anti-Semitic attacks, 70% of the hate crimes happening in New York are against the Jews, and it's gone up about 8% since Mandami took office. I think that there are a lot of people very angry about the 25th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up. 70,000 people have signed petitions to keep Mandami away. You've got some momentum with the Republican candidate for the state of governor of the state of New York. I think people are. I think Mandami. I think he is crested and is going to begin to fall. That's just my personal feeling, though. I think that he was elected on a wave, a small wave of motivated voters and a large group of people who just weren't paying attention. And I think he's going to do a faceplant. I don't think he's going to be the big leader that everybody thinks he's going to be. I could be wrong, Fred Fleitz. I could be wrong, but I do appreciate you joining me on the show today. Thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can find your glorious presence online, my friend.
Well, I'm on Twitter at Fred Fleitz, and you can read my analysis and read about my new book on the North Korean nuclear weapons program at my website, fredfleitz.com.
Fred, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for finding the time to talk today.
Good to be here.
All right, very good. All right. There you go, Fred Fleitz. Mandami's got the grocery stores coming up here. They're already beginning to look like a joke. They're going to fail. He's not been able to follow through on any of the campaign promises he has. He has doxed all of these people supposedly for the pied-à-terre tax, including liberals who are like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's exposing his flank so he can get his rear end kicked. I don't see this guy as ascending further. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I think that New Yorkers have had enough. I think that since 9/11, New Yorkers have been more than kind and patient and forgiving, and I think they've just had enough. And sooner or later, and I told you, homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are going to have to get together and kick some serious butt. Let's take a break and come back, though. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you of term life insurance.
Put that down. Hi there. How are you? It's time for a moment with Rob. I got to find a song here. Jim Gossett wrote me a couple parodies today. I might grab one here and play it real quick. Yeah, I'll do that one. One more. Hold on, just give me 1 second. I apologize. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, who we got here? Over on the YouTubeage, New Quester. Hello, how are you? And Deplorable Dinosaur. Chinese use TikTok to influence people, but I guess everyone forgot about that. No, it's true. It's true. Shah Mohammed Reza was a weak puppet and dictator. Well, I guess I would rather have a leader who's been in exile in America leading Iran now than who's in charge there. At least, he has some sort of resonance with at least part of the population. And I think that he would be like, I think he would do the bidding of the Trump administration. So there you go. I'm watching Pat Carr. Hello, Pat Carr. Hello, Gramad, all you guys. Rob must have finally changed his break time elevator music to something tolerable. I have no control over that. I have no control over what plays during the breaks, so I apologize if you don't like it. I suggested we run nothing but my parodies, which is what I would prefer to have running. That's what Rush did with his show for all the years that I was affiliated with his show. When there were breaks, he would run my parodies. Here we go.
About 340 here.
So the DSA is trying to overthrow the Democrat Party, and to some degree they are having success. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, Donald Trump has near perfect approval with MAGA supporters. Republican voters, like 90% of us, say he's doing a great job and isn't going to change. But Tucker Carlson is convinced that he and his band of idiots, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, are somehow going to create a third party. First of all, third parties don't ever work. And Tucker Carlson is not appealing to anybody.
As strange as it may seem,
Jim Gossett,
I'm forming my own team.
And Thomas Massey.
Now that we've been dumped by the GOP.
What a stupid idea and a waste of time.
A new party we will start. Tear America apart.
No, you won't.
Anti-Israel, that's what the theme will be. Me and Tom and MTG with that leaker, Joe Kent.
Yeah, Joe Kent.
We will form our own party and we won't raise 1 cent. Me and Tom and MTG with Joe Kent bringing up the rear.
Bringing up the rear.
No one in the GOP has one thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Fear.
Trump is still very popular with Republicans. Just take a look here. Okay, 21st century own party approval rating about at this point in the second term. We got Trump, we got Obama, we got Bush. Look, they're all fairly popular, but the one who is the most popular, and we have seen this time in and time out, no matter when you look, is Donald John Trump. He's the only one who's over 80%. 83% of Republicans still approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing.
Yeah, and this is why what Tucker Carlson does is folly, is falderall, is nonsense, because he doesn't understand it. He's a blue blood, snot-nosed, Navy blazer wearing private school kid who hasn't lived life like you and I have, who hasn't been in the trenches out there, who didn't suffer through the Biden economy. He didn't suffer through it like we did. And he doesn't understand why we stand with this president. He doesn't understand why we stuck with him through thick and thin. When we knew after the election of 2020, we knew in our hearts that election was not free or fair, and we never gave up. And we knew he would become president again. That's why he blew through everybody in the primaries. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris didn't have a primary. Donald Trump beat everybody, 99 counties in Iowa, for God's sake. We knew he was going to do it through both impeachments, through the raid on Mar-a-Lago, through the attempt to take him off the ballot for 4 assassination attempts. He doesn't understand that we are not going to leave this man. We are not going to leave this movement. And it is absolutely ridiculous that his island of misfit toys with Joe Kent and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey, the most unlikable, intellectually and morally bankrupt people, they're gonna peel off enough votes to start a third party. Okay, good luck with that. Let's take a break and come back. Hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show is right ahead. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
Hold it now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show. Joining us at the bottom of the hour, I'm quite excited about this. I played audio from her when she was on with Sid Rosenberg, broke the story that they had discovered some real fraud regarding the election of Zohran Mandami, a whole bunch of questionable ballots, Social Security numbers and whatnot, and they said that the number of fraudulent votes exceeded his margin of victory, which is, I think, 230,000 votes. And I don't think, I think Mandami is popular with the elite, liberals, in Manhattan and whatnot. But I think that I have a feeling his star is beginning to fade as we approach the 25th anniversary of 9/11. 60,000 plus families have said we don't want him at the 9/11 memorial, and that speaks volumes about the side that patriotic New Yorkers feel he's on. That's big. Then you also got a report today that hate crimes are up in New York City, 7% against Jewish people since Mandami took office. Because I told you when he ran, what was he first? What was he first? Is he Marxist first? Is he communist first? No, he's Islamist first. He's Islamist first. Because he is loved by all of the radical imams in the city of New York, even though he's very pro LGBTQIA+ and all that nonsense. What does that mean? They know he's Islamist first. They know he's using them as useful idiots. Same goes with liberal Jews in New York City. So I have a feeling the bud will be off of his rose. Bronx leader slams Mandami's administration's nearly $2 billion hotel contracts for homeless shelters. What the hell? When did we decide that homeless people should be able to stay in hotels on our tax dollars, hotels that you and I can't freaking afford when we're scraping by to barely pay our mortgage payments? I mean, are you serious? Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson slammed the Mandami administration's decision to award a $1.86 billion contract for hotels across 5 boroughs to provide emergency space for homeless, calling it insane. You know why? Because it's insane. Remember what they did during the Biden administration? They put up people at the Roosevelt Hotel. It's $500 a night. $500 a night. These people coming from all of these countries around the world, sneaking across the southern border, took care of their daycare, took care of their diapers, took care of their food, ate like kings, did their laundry for them, for God's sake. Apparently, Mandami is not over that. The Post awarded that $1.86 billion contract to the Hotel Association of New York City Foundation, represents 300 hotels to provide emergency shelter to people experiencing homelessness. Now you go to a homeless shelter. There you go. But they're going to spend $1.86 billion on hotels. I believe I saw a study that New York spends $81,000 per homeless unhoused person per year. $81,000. I don't have the story in front of me because I got a giant stack of paper in front of me. But there you go, $81,000. 2 people in a household in New York, each one making $81,000. That comes out to $162,000 a year. That's more than the per capita income of the average person in New York City, and they're able to survive on it and pay their rent and stuff. But of course, a bunch of NGOs get the money. They spend the least on the homeless, and then pocket the rest of it. So there is that. Oh, let's look at the run for the primary in Senate in the state of Michigan. You got this Haley Stevens, who is, I guess, kind of either returning to her colloquial roots or just faking it. And she's taken on this Abdul al-Sayed. It looks like Sayed is going to win. Here is Haley this morning.
Michigan moment right now. You know, I want to be Michiganders' voice. You all have been hearing, someone told me earlier this morning, I like how she sounds. She sounds like me. She sounds like my family. I am going to make darn sure that Michigan is heard in the halls of power. That is why people should vote for me. I am Michigan's fighter, whippersnapper, energetic.
She actually used the word whippersnapper. Yeah, I was actually joking with a friend of mine, and I was talking about her, and I literally last night used the word whippersnapper.
Vote for me. I am Michigan's fighter, whippersnapper, energetic, take no, junk from anybody, and I'm a tough as nails Democrat.
There you go. So I think that she would be more of a challenge in the race for governor against Mike Rogers than Abdul Al-Sayed. And right now, Abdul Al-Sayed, who's expected to win, is behind Mike Rogers by 3 points already. How often do Republicans lead in races of significance in the country? How often do they lead? Very rarely. Why? Because they use the polling to suppress the vote, make us feel like we can't win. He's already ahead by 3 points. And Michigan has been moving right for a while. I mean, dramatically right for a while. And Donald Trump carried Michigan in the presidential election of 2024. And Donald Trump is bringing manufacturing back to Michigan. And Donald Trump has a lot of support from the unions, heavy equipment, cars, the whole deal, bringing back manufacturing. Really? Really? Green energy, socialist? Really? I don't think it's going to end very well for Abdul Sayed in the state of Michigan, but I could be wrong. I'm generally pretty right about these things, so there is that. There is that. I got to talk about this. I got to talk about the grocery stores in New York City. Zohran Mandami is going to do these grocery stores, these socialized grocery stores in America. Let me find the piece. I had a couple pieces here. This is by Jonathan Turley. Jonathan Turley talking about the grocery stores. Now, these are already a boondoggle. They're already a boondoggle. They're already going to lose money because they've got to spend these millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to build the damn things. That's all taxpayer money. Then he's going to magically cut prices on 30 staples by 30%. So what he's doing is he's creating a grocery store like they have in Cuba. And they have a very limited number of items that are available that you can get, and they most definitely will be rationed. This is Jonathan Turley's piece. What Mandami described was a discount food bank dressed up as a grocery, standing in front of blackboards saying reduce 30%. Mandami sounded like a bodega hawker. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices of this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices, no exceptions, no gimmicks. The Mandami markets are new variations of an old New York grift, selling gold watches for $5. The dupes want to believe that somehow the street vendor surreptitiously displaying watches inside his overcoat actually have found a way to sell gold watches for just a few bucks. The math simply doesn't add up for Mandami. Most grocery stores have a profit margin between 1% and 3%. To promise 30% below a discount below market rate that cannot be adjusted due to monthly market fluctuation is economically absurd. They're already failing. They haven't even been opened yet, and they're already failing. It is not a description of a competitive grocery, but a public charity. It's a quasi-food bank where taxpayers subsidize the cost. That's what it's going to be. He's not reinventing anything. We just saw it in Chicago with 7 grocery stores. They tried the same damn thing, put $13 million in it. They did it in Kansas City. I accidentally stumbled into that grocery store last year, and I went, what the hell is going on? There was nothing on the shelves. The deli wasn't open. It was right before it was put out of business. They put $22 million into it, and it failed. He suggests that real grocery stores are simply price gougers hoarding windfall profits from consumers. He ignores that they must pay rent, upkeep, and fees, all things that city-run stores may simply write off. If you are willing to take a bath on sales, you can always offer the affordable prices for as long as your excess cash holds out. In Mandami's case, he has the credit of New York City to draw on to compete against mom and pop bodegas. Real stores are competing in one of the tightest markets in the world and are grappling with a 33% national increase in costs since 2019 when Joe Biden took over and groceries went through the ceiling. We can trace it all back to Joe Biden. I lived it. I watched it every single day. I was selling cars. I saw it. I saw the price of everything. I do all the shopping in my family. I watched it. I watched chicken breasts at Walmart. They were $1.88 a pound. You can't get them on sale. You get them on sale for $2.98. I saw salmon, which used to be on sale for $7.99. Now the cheapest you can get it is $12 a pound. And I saw the price of beef. You could get ribeye for $9.99 on sale. You can't get ribeye below $16 a pound now. That all happened during the Joe Biden administration. I watched it in real time. If it's leveled off, the price of eggs has dropped, but you can pin this all on Joe Biden because it happened during his 4 years. 9% inflation 1 year alone. When it came to cars, I was selling cars. I like to say that 55,000 is the new 35,000 in the car business. 55,000 is the new 35,000. In 2019, you could buy a Toyota Highlander XLE mid-priced $37,000. That truck is $55,000. In 2019, you could buy a Toyota Tundra for top end $1,794. Under $60,000. That truck is $85,000 now. I was looking today at a well-equipped RAV4 hybrid, $47,000 for a freaking RAV4. That's what happened under Joe Biden. And Zohran Mandami is countering that with a project that is already failing. It's already failing. It's already sucking up money like a sponge, and it will do a faceplant within a year. On the other side of the break, they wanted you to present ID to go to one of these stores that he's opening, and now he's saying, no, we don't want the ID. They don't want any idea because he got so much grief about it. We got that on the other side of the break. Let's come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
how are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically, and is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So this is just getting bigger and dumber by the moment.
Our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, GPAC, to add some additional details.
There you go, sure.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying and that is focused on everyday.
You got to show an ID, is what she said. She showed a library card on it and it moved right on there. You got to know, you show an ID. Jim Gossett put this together about having an ID to buy groceries at the food bank. As Al Sharpton on the Rob Carson Show.
In Mamdani's grocery stores, you aren't getting through the doors with no ID.
30 items. The rest will be normal priced.
An ID with a photograph. You must show the staff valid. It must be. When it comes to voting, well, that's another thing. A different tune. Us Democrats will sing.
It's gonna fail. It already is.
We admit that we're gonna cheat, 'cause we'll go down to defeat when voting's fair. Mamdani's latest ID moves only proves to New York he doesn't care.
Yeah, he's a fool.
At Mamdani's grocery stores you'll be stopped. You cannot shop with no ID.
The first city-run grocery store in East Harlem will cost $30 million to build. So you're already in a $30 million hole. You are going to propose selling groceries at 30% under the market rate when your profit margins are 1% to 3%. It's already dead. It's already dead. Socialism only works until you run out of other people's money. It's already dead. Oh, here's Mandami saying, no, he's telling Joy Reid, no, we never wanted an ID. What are you
We're
talking
talking about a city-run grocery store, one in each borough, which, by the way, you do not need an ID to shop at, no matter what you've just heard in the news of today. We're talking about...
So what's going to prevent wealthy people from shopping there? What's going to prevent people who aren't poor from shopping there?
Actually addressing the question of skyrocketing grocery prices. We've seen in the last, 6 or 7 years alone, an increase in grocery prices of around 30%.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe Biden. That's when it happened. There's no doubt about it. It happened under Joe Biden's presidency. I know it. I lived it. I saw it. I want to go to Joe in Richmond, Virginia. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the Rob Carson Show. What's on your mind today?
Hello. I wanted to say thank you for being on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Oh, yes.
I love you every day. But the other side of this, the back side of it is, who is supplying the grocery stores? Because if they are taking a cut to supply these grocery stores, they're going to have to make that up with their other accounts that pay regular price.
I don't know how you could do that. Nobody's going to sell their wholesale goods to a government store at a loss. The only thing that can happen, they're going to sell it to the government store for the same price they sell it to everybody else. It's just the government store has the, I guess, whatever faith and credit New York City has to be able to sell them at 30% below, lose their asses on it, and still pull it off. I mean, look, they're already $30 million. One store, $30 million. That's insane. To make $30 million selling groceries and just pay off the mortgage on that is impossible. But they don't have to do it because it's just the money is already down the toilet. They're starting off in a net negative anyway, Joe.
Yeah, but that's normal for any Democrat or socialist communist plan.
And the thing is, and this is the thing about these ignoramuses, they think, and I've heard the cliche. I remember when I was in high school, and I'd have one of my liberal friends, and I didn't know what liberalism and conservatism was, but they would say things like, communism really is the best form of government because everybody is equal. The problem is it just hasn't been done properly. No, it left 100 million people in body pits last century. It's never worked. We started an experiment in socialism in Jamestown, Virginia, before the United States was founded, and it failed, and it failed, and it always fails. It always ends in division, poverty, starvation, lack of choice, etc. But these fools think they're going to come in and they're going to, because they've only got a few years on the planet and they haven't seen any history, that somehow they're going to turn it around, and it's not going to work, Joe.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
What you do? What you do down in Richmond, by the way? What do you do in Richmond?
I do some consulting. I also help with the conservative efforts down here when I can.
Well, I think that the state of Virginia is much further more conservative than we give it credit for. Fairfax and Loudoun counties are the two counties that make people think that Virginia has gone Democrat, but not so much. There's a wave rising in the state of Virginia, I think, especially since Abigail Scambergler took over. What do you think?
Well, it was rising. It was rising back in 2020. I had a contract up in Loudoun County, and I actually entire Northern Virginia. I did 5 counties for this client, and I saw Trump signs everywhere. I wore my MAGA gear. People were screaming, thumbs up, the whole bit. I barely saw Biden signs. They did steal Virginia back then. I am convinced of that 100%.
Yep.
I know you had talked about coming down to the Flying Squirrels.
Yep.
Please come on down.
I'm going to.
If you ever tour buddy up in D.C., I'll hop the train.
All right, very good. I appreciate it. I got to run, Joe. Thank you for calling. I do appreciate it. I do. I am proud to call Virginia my home now, and rather than leave Virginia, I am going to lead the fight against Abigail Scambergler and the Democrat Party. They've already gotten their rear ends handed to them. They tried to gerrymander Republican representation out of the state. They keep forgetting that one of the license plates you can get in Virginia is the Gadsden flag. Yeah. We're still very, very, very foundational. Let's take a break and come back. Coming up, Mandami didn't win. We'll talk about it.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount Plus. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman. Now streaming on Paramount Plus. Doug took Relief Factor for nearly a year before convincing his wife, a special needs teacher, to try it. She had been using assistance just to move through the long hallway at school. Now she's back on her feet every day. Never had to leave the job she loves. I can attest to this. I ride my mountain bike every weekend from 30 to 50 miles. I lift weights, and I'm lifting heavier than I did when I was 30 without pain. People like Doug make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you what you love. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us too. ReliefFactor.com or 1-800-4RELIEF.
is that the New York City and the New York State boards of elections have no idea if Mamdani won the mayoral. I actually don't know whether Mamdani won the mayoral race, and I'm not here to say that he didn't. The problem we uncovered is that the New York City and the New York State boards of elections have no idea if Mamdani won the mayoral election either. Let's look at their official records.
I'll let actually Marley Hornik give us the details. She's my new hero. I've been following her since she was on Sid Rosenberg's show at WABC, and we are really proud and glad to have her joining us on the Rob Carson Show, the CEO of Real America Vote. Marley, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rob, it's so great to be on with you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. I played your audio last week and maybe the week before over and over and over again. You did some digging into Zohran Mandami's vote base, and you analyzed, what, 1 million voters, a million ballots, and what did you discover about some of these Mandami voters?
Well, we asked a really simple question, Rob, because a lot of this election stuff is so dense. We made it simple.
Yeah.
The second sentence of the Constitution says that the state of New York is required to qualify every voter according to their state eligibility laws. So we looked at Mamdani's election. We asked for the official records from the New York City and New York State boards of elections, and we said, let's see if they qualified the voters. And it turns out they really failed horrifically. Wow. Okay? 7% of the voters don't exist.
Wow.
They don't exist at all. 6% have Social Security numbers that SSA.gov identifies as impossible, fake, and invalid. And 10% of the so-called voters did not live in New York City any time during the entire year of 2025. And that includes like a January through November, okay? They didn't have skin in the game, right? They didn't have any right to vote there.
Okay. How were they able to vote?
Well, I don't know. That's not actually that's not your problem. It's not my problem. Whose problem it is the New York City and New York State boards of elections, because 23% of the vote in that election was blatantly unqualified, and that makes their certification a federal crime.
Yeah, absolutely. So you discovered that when you added up all of the fraudulent, non-existent voters, it actually exceeded his margin of victory by how many?
Well, what we looked at, it's over his margin of victory by about 20,000 votes. But again, like you said, we only looked at 1 million of the voters. There are 1.2 million voters who voted in that election that we could still study. So, like, we only took it so far in this first round.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. How has, I would assume that nothing is happening in the state of New York with regard to interest in this story from people like, I don't know, Kathy Hochul or anybody associated with New York politics. Have you gotten the attention of anybody on the national scene with regard to what you've discovered? Have you gotten some interest from maybe the DOJ to look into this? What's going on since you discovered this?
Right. Well, let me just clarify that Kathy Hochul, Letitia James, and their cohort, not only are they ignoring this study, but they already opened years ago in 2023. They opened a 2-year criminal investigation into me and my organization under the KKK Act for asking questions.
Wow.
So what I can say that is a positive is thank God for the U.S. Attorney in the Northern District of New York, John Sarcone, who I have been meeting with for over a year now, about a year and a half. And they had already, because we ran some pilot studies like this on the 2024 election in New York, they already had verified the methodology. They had agreed that we had actually found votes counted from people who don't exist. They verified and validated that. And so right now, his office and the Albany FBI field office are aggressively investigating this issue, and they're ready to meet with the Southern District also, because as you may or may not realize, Jay Clayton is headed over to DNI, so there's an incoming U.S. attorney for New York City.
Wow. I've heard that Kathy Hochul is barely ahead in the governor's race. It sounds like there's a real possibility that New York could have a Republican governor. What do you suppose happens if and when that happens?
Well, it's an interesting question because I have got to be the biggest thorn in Albany's side. I actually have a federal lawsuit in Albany right now against Tish James and the New York State Board of Elections that the judge, it accuses them of First Amendment violations, and it accuses them also of usurping the constitutional right to vote and choose representatives from the citizens of New York. Right now, the judge decided that she isn't quite ready after 8 months to rule on the state's motion to dismiss. She says she's going to decide that in due course, which I think is when hell freezes over.
Yeah, pretty much.
But to your question, when that lawsuit hits discovery, it is it's projected to give Blakeman a +3, and he's only down by 3 right now. And actually something interesting he can do that no one else in the entire country can do, but if he becomes governor, he can actually impeach Mamdani.
Good.
That's the only way right now on the books to get this guy out. So we have to have a fair election in November for sure.
Do you think that Mandami is as popular as they say he is?
No, not at all. I
No.
mean, just look at any feed covering New York City. The citizens of New York are appalled by his attack on prosperity, his attack on the Jewish citizens in New York, and so many other issues that are just shocking, I think. And some of these people admittedly voted for him.
Yeah.
But now some of them have buyer's remorse, and some of them saw the thing coming. And then, of course, you have some nut jobs that are probably we should put them all in the Smithsonian together, and just let them live there in happiness.
Yeah.
They did vote for him, and they still believe in him. They don't think that private property is a big deal.
Well, they're self-loathing. There are a lot of self-loathing Jews. There are a lot of self-loathing liberals in New York City. The queers for Palestine and the Jews for Hamas. I don't even know. But there's a lot of that nonsense. Really, I don't understand it. It's the same pathos that causes women to fall in love with death row inmates. They have this self-loathing about them, and even if it means their own death or possibility of it, they get some sort of, I guess it's some sort of kink. I'm not even sure what it is, but I have a funny feeling that he has reached his zenith, and his star is going to begin to fall. Marley, can you hold on through the break? I have many more questions. There are a lot of other things going on in the state of New York, the city of New York City. Can you hold on? Would you mind doing that?
Absolutely, no problem.
I love having you on. Let's take a break and come back. More with Marley Hornik. Real America Vote. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
FM in Harford County.
Kathy Hochul is the most pro-criminal governor in the United States of America. Think about it. She gave Zohran Mandami a $5 billion bailout.
Is that for my budget money?
Yes. With any conditions that he hires new cops, and he hasn't hired any new cop. 48 utility rate hikes. Our electric bills are 70% higher than the national average. I will lower your electric bills. Kathy Hochul, you're the worst governor in the United States of America. Go to BlakemanForNewYork.com.
There you go. That is a new ad I've been seeing all over the place on my timeline this morning for Bruce Blakeman, and I'm hoping that he boots Kathy Hochul's rear end the hell out of office. Joining us on the Newsmax hotline is Marley Hornik, CEO of Real America Vote, who discovered that many of Zohran Mandami's voters non-existent. Back to Kathy Hochul. I saw this morning, Marley. Several prominent Long Island Democrats are leaving Kathy Hochul off their endorsement pages of their campaign websites, raising questions about whether candidates in one of the New York's most competitive regions are distancing self from the top of the party's statewide ticket. That's the feeling I get, and I don't even live there.
Right. Well, is she even the top of the statewide ticket anymore?
Yeah.
Because she's following Mamdani around like a puppy, handing him checks. You know, here's another treat. Here's another bone. Go ahead, puppy. I mean, he is dragging her all over creation, just like the DSA is now dragging Schumer and Jeffries around. You know, it's like they're the actual minority leadership in Congress, but Mamdani is the person who decides what's on their platform.
Yeah, and I'm already seeing things like in the race in Michigan, if Syed wins, he's already 3 points down. I saw in the state of Wisconsin, this Francesca Hong, should she become the candidate, she's already 3 points down to the Republican candidate. I think this DSA thing is not going to fly nationally. They're full of their arrogance and hubris. They feel like because they've won a few of these small races that, but I really think they've overplayed their hand. I really do, Marley.
Yeah, well, it's nice to think that way, and I agree. But if they're relying on fake voters and people with fake Social Security numbers to get into office, the threat is not limited to their appeal.
Yeah, that's true. Do you suppose that Harmeet Dillon's efforts have helped in the state of New York and other states? I mean, I had heard Scott Pressler talked about how that they were cleaning the voter rolls in Pennsylvania, and they're about 30,000 votes from flipping the state Republican. More Republican registrants than not. That's not happening in New York, apparently.
No, in the DOJ case, U.S. v. New York, trying to get the copy of the unredacted voter rolls from New York State so they can do exactly what RealAmerica.vote is doing, which is run the Social Security numbers and find out who these people are really. The state denied them access. The judge ruled, same judge as in my case, just to be clear.
Yeah.
The judge ruled that, this is a privacy issue, but actually it's very different than that. And the judges in all these cases are completely incorrect. The DOJ wants to vindicate the only active duty the American citizens have in the United States Constitution, which is to choose Congress.
Yes.
And if the states are not qualifying the voters, if they're registering fake people and letting them vote, registering illegals or people who have bought Social Security numbers for whatever reason somehow, letting them vote, the state is in breach of contract with the United States Constitution at sentence 2, and the rights of the citizens to choose has to be vindicated.
Yes.
So, this is the only argument I have with the way Harmeet is handling those cases, and I did file amicus briefs in New York, Pennsylvania. I helped with one in Maryland and a couple other states because the DOJ arguments are great, but they're not going to get us over the hurdle. They need to say, we're not about, looking at your data on a federal interest. Our federal responsibility is to vindicate the rights of the citizens of your state that you're screwing over when you do this.
I have no doubt that there is, and what's really remarkable is that the Democrat Party and the leftist media would have the audacity to say that there's no voter fraud in America. It is so utterly ridiculous to say such a thing when it is. I mean, it's a punchline in cities like Chicago and New York. It is a punchline. It is a known factor in places like Cincinnati, where I have lived, and then of course you also hear the DHS came up in 4 states, 250,000 illegals registered to vote. Marley Hornik, let me ask you this question: why do people register to vote? What do they expect to do when they register to vote?
I think they're intending to vote. Actually, Rob.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
I think they're thinking that that's what they might want to do. But I have to say, there is. I have one point of agreement with Chuck Schumer and all the rest of them on this issue. I don't think that voter fraud is the big problem. I think it is election misconduct.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want to blame this on. There are voters who double vote. Every year when we run these audits in New York, we find some people that probably did double vote.
Yeah.
And we always hand that over to authorities. But the main problem is that the election officials who are supposed to restrict registration and voting to those qualified by law have abandoned it. They decided, no, we're just going to have the honor system.
Yeah.
And that way, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just a coincidence, Rob, but the Democrats keep gaining House seats, and they keep gaining more and more power with that scheme.
Yeah, well, it is a scheme, very clearly, and we could go on and on about this. There's much more to cover, but Marley Hornik, CEO of Real America Vote, I really appreciate you being on, and I would love to have you on more often as we approach the midterms. I greatly appreciate the work you've done there and the expose you did on Zohran Mandami. Where can people find your glorious organization? How can we help you out?
Yeah, we can just come to realamerica.vote, and you can also follow me on X, Marley Hornik 1, or Real America Vote on X and Truth Social. And I just, Rob, I really appreciate that. I'd love to come on whenever you want. And I just want to let everybody realize that this Mamdani study was paid for by citizens.
Yep.
And so if you want these studies to expand, if you want them to cover more states, if you want to see more elections incorporated, and if you want to really win this fight finally, please help us.
All right, realamerica.vote. Marley Hornik, you are welcome anytime, my friend. Thanks for your time today. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract?
Gosh, she's fantastic. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that good? Beck Ottenberry. That was good. That was really good. Hello, Marge Dell. Born and raised in Queens, had a wonderful childhood, had no idea that my beloved hometown could change so badly. I know, I get that. I know. I heard back in the day, New York, a pretty cool place to grow up. Back in the day. I would imagine it was quite dynamic and awesome. All right. Hello, Blockbuster 2K. What up? What up? I'm trying to catch up with your conversations here. Good to see you. Needs to deploy the National Guard to places like Dearborn, Michigan, regardless of political fallout. Yeah, something's got to happen in Dearborn. Ridiculous. Look at over on X. We got some people, Voices for Equality. I don't know who you are. I'm not sure who you are. I'd have to see who you're doing, why you're all of a sudden showing up here. Sounds like Tucker got Soros money. I don't know. Tucker is a sellout supreme. Hello, AutoCadden. How are you? AutoCadden. Good to see you over on Rumbly Roo, the Rumbly Roo. I got some funny stuff I want to cover here. We haven't heard that in a while. Hold on. Hold on one second. Nah, let's not do that. Anyway, I've got my last break I'm working on here. I've got a couple things I want to share here real quick, but Sorry, I try to talk to you guys while at the same time deciding what I'm going to talk about next in front of a lot of people. Here I go. Wish me luck.
Car ready for the drive, Rob.
Yeah, I know. This is not an EV. And it never will be. But I will tell you, I'd do a hybrid. Hell yeah. I'd do a hybrid. Toyota announced that their RAV4, they're going to get rid of just the straight gas model and go with a hybrid vehicle or a plug-in hybrid, which I'm perfectly cool with. I'm absolutely cool with it. More horsepower, better gas mileage. I wish my Bronco Buck were a hybrid because he gets 13.5 miles per gallon. 13.5 miles per gallon. But I still love him. This is pretty funny. I got to tell you, liberal women are freaking insane. Insane cat ladies from hell. Well, I want you to listen to this. Dorothy Fortenberry. A writer and producer on the show The Handmaid's Tale. Dear God, if I had to watch that, oh my God in heaven. Says Hallmark should show less snow during its Christmas movies because of the impact on climate change. This is so bloody stupid. She's at some sort of a climate summit, but she did The Handmaid's Tale, and she says that Hallmark's movies, even at Christmas time, should show less snow because of climate change.
But there's also just the act of portraying reality as it is. And if you just made a regular show where the weather in your show mirrored the weather that we're all living through.
What we're all living through. It rained here on Sunday, and it snowed last winter, and it's been doing that for thousands of years.
That would end up conveying, there would be days where the sky was full of smoke.
It's the Canada wildfires.
We're still making all of our Hallmark Christmas specials with snow. Probably we shouldn't.
No, you should, because it frickin' snows in the wintertime.
You don't have to have people sit around and say, like, oh, well, this is because of...
Oh, my God. Can you just imagine being married to this?
Carbon, and this is, you can, if that's part of your Hallmark Christmas special. But even just having the lived experience of people on TV shows mirror what we're all actually...
Oh, just shut up and make a stupid TV show.
...going through would be an enormous step forward without any other change.
Oh, I get so... Oh. Thanks for another reason not ever to watch the Hallmark Channel. Can I tell you right now, I've never seen 1 minute of programming on the Hallmark Channel. And I never will, because I have man parts and I have testosterone. And I mean, I don't care what was sitting on the couch with me. I ain't going to watch the Hallmark Channel with you. It's not going to happen. I'm going to be back on Monday. God bless you, America's founded Donald Trump. To hell with Dorothy Fortenberry of the Hallmark Channel. God bless you guys. I love you. And I'll see you then. Don't catch the stupid. See ya.
All right, Robbie, have a safe trip now.
All right, bro.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.